you, Ann. Good morning. Oh, y'all can do better than that. Good morning. It's National Seersucker Day, and I'm the only one in seersucker. What's the deal?
Didn't get the memo.
I am excited to be with you all. Most importantly, I'm excited to see Paula and some folks from DOT, folks that I had a chance to work with and do some really, really good things. And I'm here to tell you that things are really happening in this business, and you all know that. And so as I thought about what remarks I would share, I figured this was preaching to the choir. This was talking to folks who are in this business that know how to get things done and understand some of the dynamics. And so I thought it was important to really reflect on kind of where we've been and then talk a little bit about the future, because what we have done well, and it's somewhat of a secret, what we have done well in this space of clean fuels really provides a roadmap for other renewables that are evolving that Louisiana can be a part of. And as I looked at the map that Grace just shared, there was an end of the line right at the border of Texas and Louisiana. And I know firsthand that we have an amazing freight corridor here throughout this state, and traveling across I-10 to all points east is a significant route. And as I traveled from New Orleans yesterday and saw the backup, and it was 70% trucks traveling down that highway, and I understood what that could mean for our industry if we were more thoughtful. So let me begin my remarks by telling you that Louisiana stands at a pivotal juncture in its evolving energy economy, presenting prime opportunity to become or to retain our position as a national leader, not a regional leader, but a national leader in clean fuels and technologies. Congruent with that is establishing policies and practices that will create an environment by which we can collectively thrive in this state. As we go through this transition from this historical reliance on traditional energy sources, it's critical to adopt a comprehensive, all-inclusive approach to energy that embraces a diverse array of clean technologies, not just those that we're familiar with, but those that are evolving. This strategy ensures resilience. It ensures sustainability, as well as economic growth, while avoiding the pitfalls of placing all of our bets in one single slot machine, if that makes sense. Now, during my tenure as president of AASHTO in 2021, leading the nation's premier transportation policy and infrastructure delivery agencies from all 50 states, including territories of the United States, Congress and this president, President Joseph Biden, passed what was known as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. This law is also known as the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, and the two most important elements of that are investment and jobs, because that is going to keep our economy moving. The convergence of those transportation opportunities between this bill's investments and the jobs it will create will build a sector that will be here to stay for years to come. You know, in spite of putting generational investments into this business, and I must add that I know it's not enough to do all that we need to do, but it is the beginning. We have to understand that the $66 billion that went to Amtrak, or the hundreds of billions of dollars that went to traditional transportation projects like the Calcasieu River Bridge, or funds that went to the Department of Energy to build the network, is super, super important. It's important to recognize that the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act did more than just fund traditional infrastructure. It did more than just double down on investing in ports and airports across the country. It's jump-starting what I believe is a transformation for all of those transportation assets to exist successfully as we move people and goods across our interstate system. You are aware of the $80 million that were spent here in Louisiana, or is being spent here in Louisiana, for electric vehicle charging infrastructure. Grant dollars that for the first time in history, we are proud to have participated and supported Louisiana Clean Fuels in developing the strategy and the process to distribute those dollars. But more than those investments, the $62 billion that went to the Department of Energy, including about $10 billion for clean hydrogen, was visionary in its ability to see the future for what can happen here in Louisiana using American tax dollars, our tax dollars, to build this system. Now, when you marry the IIJA and the Inflation Reduction Act that has subsequently passed, you are seeing additional policy incentives for clean energy like never before, including hydrogen production taxes and tax credits, that will further ensure that our markets for clean hydrogen is one that will thrive and grow here in the United States. It will thrive and grow in Louisiana, and it will be fueling all of the heavy equipment and our commercial vehicles that need to travel in the future across that freight corridor. Those two pieces of legislation will do wondrous things when it relates to greenhouse gas emission reduction and decarbonization, not just from the transportation sector, but from across other industries. We know that transportation alone produces more than 10% of the GHGs that are produced throughout our transportation system, and other products and manufacturing elements that are key to our economy only add to that. We are well positioned here in Louisiana to leverage jobs for hardworking citizens in this market. Estimates suggest that over 100,000 direct jobs will be expected to come to fruition as a result of these investments by 2030, and we should be a part of that. You're here today as a partner to learn, to exchange ideas, and collaborate with other like-minded organizations and professionals with similar missions to be best prepared to sustainably deliver on the promise of clean fuels and all that it can create for our economy. While the nation grapples with how best to operationalize this strategic delivery on these two promising pieces of legislation in real time, here in Louisiana, we have to do the same thing, but on a much different scale. We must begin to think about how to best position our economy and our industry and our fleets, along with our policies and our workforce, and research at our educational institutions to create a leveraged advantage for us to be the energy leader that we have always been. You know, at a very high level, it's important for us to state that the focus of our efforts have to be on the industrial application of these clean technologies first. While the fleets will do wonders, the marketplace where we exist is only going to follow that commercial market. Imagine if we were to do this as opposed to facing power grabs and culture wars in the legislature, but focused on policies that were really going to move the needle on making this world a better place. We have to make sure that we are targeting our efforts, recognizing that this is not going to happen overnight. When you look at the evolution of this is not a doorstep that Louisiana first stepped on in 2024. I hearken back to Governor Romer's era where he talked about other alternative fuels. We have to understand that the commercialization of our fleets and the technology applications that it will support are going to evolve as a core service for every economy across this nation. It's important for us that we allow the market to drive not only prices, but also an affordable system, and for organizations and individuals to be able to embrace. So there are a couple of things that I think you would agree we must do. First, we must embrace clean fuel technologies. Our rich history in the energy sector, as I said before, particularly oil and gas, is the beginning, but it will not be the end. As a son of a father who grew up in the oil and gas business, I understand the importance of how it has evolved. The global shift towards low-carbon technologies is reshaping our economic landscape right before our eyes. By investing in a broad spectrum of clean fuel technologies, Louisiana can leverage its existing infrastructure, its expertise to spread innovations in the renewable energy market, and the ability to grow hydrogen fuel production using biofuels and CCS. The workforce, the pipelines that we have, the geographic endowment that we have inherited, all work together to ensure that we will be a major player in this space for years to come. We have to accept that renewable energy is the smart choice, and it is evolving. Take a look at what's happened with solar and how it's changing the economy of our state. The state will enhance its energy mix as a result of promoting policies that will bring solar solutions to the marketplace. As a senior vice president for WSP in the national market, we're certainly looking and learning from what happened with solar and are turning our attention to offshore wind. But you cannot discount the financial implications of these burgeoning markets. Just take First Solar, for example, in Iberia Parish, $1 billion investment representing a significant milestone here in Louisiana in terms of global manufacturing capacity and financial significance. And shame on us if we do not find improved ways to expand the market's environmental impact. The large-scale solar project that we're seeing here in the state for the first time, it is an in-depth look at the financial and environmental implications of what renewables can do for a market. Take, for example, the financial impacts, the job creation, the economic benefits, the tax revenue, and the investments that will be a model for years to come. And everyday citizens, folks like you and I, will feel the cost savings, both in terms of energy as well as the environmental impact. In the long term, renewable energy projects like this will lead to savings for consumers, improved quality of life, and lower operational costs compared to traditional fossil fuels. This model can be applied to other alternative fuels, particularly renewables that are evolving. As you know, renewables have a minimal carbon footprint compared to traditional energy sources like coal and natural gas. And no one is suggesting that they will forever disappear. We have to diversify the market. By generating clean energy, the projects that we hope to build in the future will reduce the overall carbon emissions of the state's energy sector, as well as the consumers in this market. While it was great to have a government that embraced plans to reduce emissions, there's a larger force than government, and that is the commercial marketplace. It is the business imperative that is going to sustain any of these efforts. Many of you are representing some of those entities. The reduction in fossil fuel combustion will lead to lower emissions of pollution such as sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides and other particulate matters, resulting in improved air quality as well as public health benefits. And here in Louisiana, we absolutely need them both. And as the development of wind energy in the Gulf of Mexico represents a transformative opportunity to also leverage the infrastructure that we have here in the Gulf Coast, it is important that we work together and collaboratively to share lessons learned as other markets have evolved. Let's talk for a few minutes a little bit about hydrogen fuels and how that will make a difference in Louisiana. Hydrogen is emerging as a critical component in the transition to low-carbon economies. Like the elements that contribute to our positions in offshore wind, Louisiana has established an industrial base here in the state, not just in South Louisiana, but in Southwest Louisiana as well. By focusing on both blue and green hydrogen, blue hydrogen produced from natural gas with CCS and green hydrogen produced from renewable energy sources, which can be solar or wind, the state can cater to various sectors, sharing more transitional knowledge and transformation for transportation, manufacturing, and power generation, all equaling to growth in our economy. From a biofuels perspective, the agricultural sector in Louisiana, which has a very long and rich history, has ample feedstock for biofuel production. By investing in advanced biofuels, the state can also reduce its footprint there, creating a new market and sustaining our rural communities and improving the way of life for folks in every corner of Louisiana. This approach not only supports rural economies, but it also supports our energy sector and the sustainability in that space. You know, an all-inclusive approach to energy is what we absolutely need. Adopting an all-of-the-above energy strategy is essential for Louisiana. This approach ensures that no single technology is overly relied upon, which can mitigate risks associated with market volatility, technological uncertainties, and/or policy changes and political winds. An inclusive energy strategy also fosters innovation and competition, driving down improving efficiencies and driving down competition from other places. If you're here today, you're here a key player in ensuring the success of alternative fuels in Louisiana. And it starts by advocating for public policy and incentives. So a couple of encouragements before I shut my speech down today. One, I encourage you to hold your government accountable. Hold us accountable in government to deliver meaningful policies and incentives that they play critical roles in fostering the development of clean fuels. This is a group that should lead the conversation about technologies and policies that will foster growth. Because you represent businesses, you represent academia, you represent governments and nonprofits, you represent everyday Louisianians. I also encourage you to help create demand. Setting ambitious renewable clean energy targets and advocating for financial incentives such as tax credits and grants to spawn a healthy market to transition our fleets so that the commercial and the personal industries that are going to be subsequent to that can evolve. I also encourage you to partner with research universities to support initiatives to advance other types of technologies that will be the next new thing in this market. Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. Stakeholder engagement and partnerships need to be front and center in all that we do. Collaborative efforts between government, industry, academia, the private sector, and the nonprofits will provide successful development for our fuel economies. Engaging a broad range of stakeholders is critical to the success of this strategy and the success of this industry. As I said, fostering collaboration, Louisiana can ensure diverse perspectives, expertise, and an integrated decision-making process, as well as lead to more robust and sustainable outcomes for our industries, our government, and our people. The coalition that's represented here today is an exemplary model on how collaborative efforts can foster innovation and delivery. Collaborative efforts within this clean fuel sector is a roadmap for further expansion using alternative fuels. The coalition thrives on a collaborative effort between government agencies, private companies, educational institutions, and nonprofits. As I said, these partnerships are crucial in pooling resources, expertise, and efforts toward common sustainability goals. I would just say to you in closing, you play a significant role in improving lives for Louisiana citizens. The adoption of policies will lead to significant environmental improvements, directly benefiting everyday families across our state that we're here to serve. Who can be against air quality improvement? Just imagine how much better Louisiana could be with reduced emissions from vehicles and industrial operations all across this state. Cleaner air with lower incidence of respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. This is especially beneficial for children and the elderly, who are more vulnerable to those types of pollutions. Climate change mitigation is a practical approach. Imagine how much better Louisiana would be with lowering those emissions. Imagine how much better our freight system would be and its affordability for producers. Imagine the landscape, the reduced frequency and the severity of climate-related disasters. Clean fuel initiatives contribute to economic growth. We can grow clean jobs in Louisiana, and we can save citizens money. The health and safety of our state will improve, and we will be a better place for it. Enhanced community well-being is what this will produce. Imagine how much better Louisiana could be with a cleaner environment contributing to the overall well-being and can enhance community spaces, making them more enjoyable for families and children to grow. Imagine how much better Louisiana could be with a sustained collaborative effort and an approach to drive sustainable and impactful changes for the families of Louisiana. I believe a cleaner, healthier, and a more prosperous future of Louisiana residents is in your hands, my friends. Let's continue to do good work and make a difference in our state. Thank you.